Good morning and happy holidays from Orlando, Florida at the Winter Nationals. I hope everybody's been having a great holiday season. For many of you, just like me, the holiday season is not necessarily the time to slow down. If anything, that's when a lot of the bigger tournaments are. And you've been traveling, getting ready to play tournaments or training or getting your kids ready. And maybe you're getting ready for the Winter Nationals, either in San Antonio or here in Orlando. And as I drove up to Orlando, from South Florida, had a nice drive to think back and reflect on 2024 and the things that I learned that I want to take into 2025 to try to help my players get better. The beautiful part about coaching in tennis is how every year I learn something new. While the game stays the same, players in their situations continue to be different. And I've long held the belief that in order to coach a player well, you have to coach the person. And you can't coach the person well without knowing who they are and how they got to be who they are today. And thanks to the trust many families have placed in me as their child's coach, I've had a great opportunity improving as a coach this year. And I hope to bring these 3 lessons to the players I'll be working with in 2025 and beyond. So without further ado, let's get into lesson number 1. A player can only be as mentally tough as they are physically fit. Now, if you've been listening to me all year or reading some of my posts, I've been talking about this a lot more. And to many of you, this might sound like the most obvious things ever. And to many of you, this might sound like the most obvious thing ever. To others like me, it wasn't. I'm very big on the psychological aspect, so I've spent a lot of time helping my players develop good routines in between points, positive self-talk, and understanding how to put a positive spin on every situation so that they're thinking the right things during the most nerve-wracking moments of matches. And if they're thinking the right things, they'll be in a great state of mind to play. And while there's still a huge benefit to this type of work, if the player is slower than their opponent, gets tired faster, and isn't as strong as them, they're not going to be tougher than them. They can think all the right things in their world, but their body won't be able to execute things in the manner with which their mind is wanting. They'll be too tired, too weak, their shots will land too short. And while it looks like it's their technique that's falling apart, it's actually their body unable to maintain an elite level of play. And when the body fails, the mind will fail. So this year, I made a pivot to make sure players are as physically fit as they need to be to compete at a high level. Without that, they can only go so far. Positive self-talk and great routines in between points can still help, but being in the best physical shape possible will take them as far as their positive self-talk wants them to go. And to add on to that, one thing I've definitely found out now that I've focused on this a lot more, most players are not as fit as they think they are. They need to get to a much higher level of fitness in comparison to the best juniors in the world. Lesson number 2, developing mentally tough players requires tough coaching. Again, sounds like a pretty obvious thing, but to me, it was not exactly what I wanted. I wanted to be the nice coach. I wanted to have a great relationship with them. I don't like raising my voice. I don't like causing friction on there. I want to have a great time, just talk about tennis, work hard, get better, and just, get on the right training path. But this is just something I've had to accept, and it's my least favorite part of the job. Helping an athlete develop into a physically and mentally tough athlete is the most exhausting and stressful part of being a coach, at least for me. And that's because kids have to be taught how to work hard. They don't wake up, start playing tennis, run fast, chase balls down, and then when they finally start to get tired, they continue to work at their maximum effort. I wish they did, but they don't. It's built into a human being's DNA to preserve energy because for thousands of years, we needed all our energy to hunt for food and protect ourselves from predators. Survival was the main objective, not winning tennis matches. So from the beginning of time, as soon as we were tired, if we had the food we needed and didn't need to hide from a predator, we rested. We trained ourselves to only use our energy for survival. And when kids first start training to be a competitive tennis player, they internally know there's no fight for survival. It's just a tennis match. So when they start to get tired, they think they're working hard, and their internal dialogue is to slow down and conserve energy. If they miss because they were tired, it's okay. They're tired. They're working hard. This isn't survival. It's just tennis. So they're working hard. They're working the right way, right? Wrong. Unfortunately, you don't improve your focus, discipline, and fitness levels by only working when you feel fresh. So trying to teach a kid that is exhausting. When they're young, they're constantly allowing their quality of work to go down as soon as they're tired. And you're constantly having to be the bad guy, telling them to keep up the hard work. No, it's not good enough. You can do better. Yes, I know you're tired. I don't care. The best players are training harder than that. They're pushing through that. They can do that drill longer and they can make more balls than you, and you have to work towards that. It's tiring, and if handled incorrectly, it can ruin the player coach relationship. But doing that tiring work and teaching them high quality work ethic is the most necessary component in becoming a successful competitive athlete. Without it, they're just a nice hitter. And there's nothing wrong with being a nice hitter, but the players I coach love tennis, but they love competing even more. They're happy when they're progressing in a competitive environment, not in a target practice environment at the club. So in order for them to achieve the long-term happiness they're looking for in tennis, I unfortunately have to be tough on them and potentially create some friction from time to time. Now, tough doesn't have to be mean, but it can come off as mean. And that's the hard part. That's the friction part that I have to try to balance, where I'm being tough on you because I care, not just because I want to be mean to you. It's because I actually care about you, your happiness, and your success. Lesson number 3, being nervous is not an excuse. Learn to accept your nerves and learn how to compete with them. Again, I think this is a shortfall of my desire to coach the psychological mind. I had way too many conversations with players about their nerves in the past. When you talk about a problem too often, you're actually making the problem bigger. Being nervous is simply a part of trying to do anything meaningful in life. The nerves will never go away. The only thing we can do is build our trust to play well, regardless of how nervous we are. Only then will we feel less nervous. And to gain that trust, we first have to stop talking about being nervous. We can quickly acknowledge it, but after that, we got to move on. We have to stop trying to relax. We have to stop trying to breathe to calm ourselves down. That's just taking our attention away from the strategy we need to use, how we want to execute it, and then playing with great footwork and energy. We can still talk about relaxation techniques, but we need to redirect a lot of that energy to where it matters. Training the right way, having clear strategies during important points, thinking less, and being incredibly fit. When players are fit, prepared, don't overthink, they can grind through nervous moments and win matches playing ugly tennis. And just one note that I want to put out there is that preparing the right way, training the right way is a massive part in players feeling less nervous in matches. Because when they've worked so hard and they've seen their improvements in practice and they know they're doing things that other kids are not doing, they are going to feel more confidently going into the match. So that's a big thing. I guess you can say it's lesson number 4, but I think we all focus on trying to train the right way. But that's just something I want to mention. When training the right way isn't just like dotting your T's and crossing your I's. It is doing something exceptional that no one else is doing. And that's when we can walk into matches knowing that we are ready to take on anything. So those are my 3 lessons for 2024. If you're a coach out there, would love to hear your lessons and what you've learned, because I want to try to shorten up my learning curve in 2025 and help players as best as I can. The hardest part of learning these lessons is knowing I could have served my players better if I learned this stuff sooner or put more focus on these things sooner. But look, that's just the nature of growth. We don't know what we don't know until experience teaches us. And I look forward to another year of coaching in 2025 and another year of learning. Thanks for listening, and I look forward to connecting more in 2025 with all of you out there. Good luck if you're at Winter Nationals, and if you're in Orlando, reach out to me. We'd love to say hello.